Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel, and today I want to prove to you a bit that these magic spells are not 100% the same. They do differ, which means some of them are stronger than the other. It's a fact, and I'm going to show you. We're going to talk about every single element that there is. So we have acid, we have ash, we have crystal, we have earth, we have explosion, fire, lightning, light, ice, ink, gold, glass, magma, iron, paper, plasma, poison, sand, shadow, snow, water, wind, and wood. So just to put this into perspective for you, this is the wiki from that game, which is World of Magic wiki. So let's start off with reviewing the ice magic, because somebody actually in my comment box asked me about ice. So as you can see right here, we have the glacial variation and we have the Arctic variation. Basically, they're both the same. It just differs in the looks. I would personally go for the Arctic. Maybe the Sage is pretty cool. The Mystic is pretty nice. But yeah, anyways. So as we can see right here, the magic type is an elemental magic, obviously, and here we get it. The magic damage is low, in bracket 0.9. Magic speed we have below average, and the destruction power is medium. Now let's actually thingy these two together like this, and we can see them stacking up. So here we have the magic damage is very high, bleed up to 0.3 times, and magic speed is extremely slow, and we have the destruction power, which is very high. So it might be balanced in somewhat ways, but if you actually are a good tactical player and you know how to play PvP, gold is going to be the one that you should be shooting for. Because if I'm, let's say, have a build that I got rocking right now, a video is going to be uploaded. I think it's already uploaded. You should see it. It's a stat video. I have 300 defense. So the ice magic is not going to do anything against me. So I got my gold magic, which is going to be very high. The destruction power is very high as well. It's going to make you bleed as well, which means you will lose over time damage. And if I have a high HP, I think I have around 800 HP on that character. Your ice magic is, I'm going to have a huge advantage towards you. It doesn't matter how you're gonna skill your mage, it doesn't matter how you're gonna skill the ice magic or what kind of spell you use. I will have a huge advantage over you just because my HP is gonna be so high and your damage output is gonna be so low. So for everyone out there who's saying that you can play any magic and you can beat anyone with it, is kind of not really true, unless you actually have complete skill over your character. Unless you really are a god at PvP, then you maybe can. But there are differences, and there are just ways where you can see that gold damage, even though it might be extremely slow, but if I have the right build towards it, there's not much you can do about it. So yeah, that's what I just want to tell you. And speed in general is not really a huge factor in PvP. It might be, but it's not a huge factor. So damage and low damage is just a huge point of PvP, especially when you're skilled with a lot of HP, because I think that's going to be meta. I think 300 defense and about 40 power or 45 power is going to be the meta. I have a video on this on my channel, so if you want to check this out, you shall go to my channel and definitely check it out. So we're going to check out some other magic spells, and so you know what you are at. So we're going to go through every single one of them right now. I'm just going to quickly go through the first row so you know what is up. So let's talk about acid. Acid is also, I don't have to actually tell you the magic type, but it's an elemental magic, and the magic damage is pretty high at 0.9 plus melt up to 0.45 times. It has average magic speed, but the destruction power is low, which means if you shoot it at walls and stuff, it might not actually destroy the building with the first 2 or 5 shots. Let's go to Ash Magic. The Ash Magic has low magic damage, the magic speed is below average, and the destruction power is low, which means the Ash damage I don't necessarily recommend, and I don't recommend you getting it in the beginning. Well, you can if you want to, but I would not recommend it. We got the crystal the crystal magic now, and we do have quite a few variations of it, which is pretty cool, and it does look pretty nice. I gotta be honest, I like this one. Wait, where is it? Wait, what? This one, I like the normal one. I do like this one as well. like the green one, like Emerald, and this one too. I like all of them. They all look nice. So the magic damage is pretty balanced. Its average is 0.95. The magic speed is slow and the destruction power is medium. So the crystal magic would definitely not be a bad choice. It would be an alright choice. So if you've chosen to actually use that, yeah, I would say that's pretty good. It's a pretty good, it's a pretty good power. So I would recommend it. Then we have the Earth Magic, which says magic damage is average. One of my friends is actually using Earth Magic. It's average damage. The speed is very slow, which is at 0.6, which is one of the slowest ones. And the destruction is pretty high. So I would say it's pretty balanced. It's pretty in the okay range. It's not an S tier element, but I would say it's a pretty good, solid first element to choose from. So I would recommend it. Yeah, I definitely would recommend it. So let's go to Explosion. The magic damage is low. The magic speed is below average, which is alright. You know, it's not 0.06, it's 0.09, which is pretty normal. It's not really amazing, but it's not really bad. The destruction power is pretty extremely high. So if you actually, in the future, if you can actually mix this up with other elements, you can like destroy places in an instant. But the magic damage is low, so especially if you want to go into PvP and PvE, I don't recommend this at the moment. But it's okay. It's okay. Like I said in my other video, Explosion is alright. It's not really amazing, but it's definitely one you can use. But I just wouldn't at this stage. Now we got Fire Magic, which was my first element that I've chosen, my first character that I leveled to 60. So it has high damage, plus it burns up to 0.43, which is interesting. It has an average magic speed, and it also has average destruction power. Destruction power at this point is not that OP, so I'm basically focusing on magic speed and magic damage, and it is just average. It's a very good element to start with. It's definitely in the top tiers, like A tier, S tier almost. Because there is nothing negative about this element, as you can see, because gold does have a negative element, and I think that was the speed, but this one is actually average, and it's high. So I would say that Fire Magic is actually pretty OP. Would maybe even put it into the better one, maybe even into the S tier class when it comes to elements, because you can do quite a lot with it. With the right build with this, like I've got on my first account, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. I mean, in the next future, I maybe can look with the clashing powers and stuff, but because I think there are quite a few elements that could destroy fire. But yeah, anyways, it's a pretty good element. So let's talk about the second row. We got Glass Magic, which is above average, and it does bleed you. Would be weird if it wouldn't be. Up to 0.22. It has an average of 1, and it also has a destruction power of medium. So Glass Magic, I would definitely also put up into the B maybe A rank tier. Yeah, you know, B rank, A rank class of elemental damage. So if you have chosen Glass, it's a quite wise choice to actually take it. Now we're talking about my second character, which is Gold Magic, which the magic damage is probably the highest in the game. I'm not 100% sure, we'll see it along the way, but it is on very high. It's 1.2 times plus bleeding effect of 0.3 times effect, and the magic speed is extremely slow. I've noticed that in PvP, and the destruction power is very high, and I've also noticed that in PvP. So this is very for the skilled. If you have to mind game, you have to mind read where your opponent is, and you have to see his steps in the future. So I said, if you're really skilled and you're a 1v1, gold is probably the best element to choose from, and that's why it's going into S tier, definitely S tier, even though it's pretty slow. So if you actually, well, I'm gonna put it into S tier if you actually have the tactics, and if you're actually good enough to see where your opponent is gonna jump to or where he's gonna walk to, then this is definitely a completely pure destruction magic spell. So let's go into Ink Magic. The destruction power is obviously low. We got the magic power below average, and the magic speed is average. So I would put this into the B tier. It's an alright element. So if you started out with it, I wouldn't necessarily say like, oh my god, it's so bad and what are you doing? It's just like, yeah, it's a good magic power, but it's not the best one in the game. Now let's talk about Ice. Ice is also like the OG. Like, well, it's more like water is more the OG, but Ice is kind of getting close to it. We we have quite a few variations on this one, as we've already discovered. The magic damage is on 0.9, and it's pretty low. It's below average speed, and destruction power is medium. Like I said, destruction power is not really that, well, it's not really that game-changing, to be honest with you. It's more like how much can you destroy, like explode things, and maybe it's also the range of the attack. It's affected by destruction power. I'm not 100% sure. But also here, ice magic is not a bad element. I would also put this into the B tier. It's a quite good element. I wouldn't necessarily say it's one of the best to start out with, but it's a good element. So yeah, next one, light. Let's talk about light. Now, this one is an interesting element because the destruction power is low, because light doesn't necessarily break through walls, which is kind of realistic, which is cool. And the magic damage is really low as well, 0.85. And we have the speed, which is extremely fast. So I'm going to be interested in the future how people are going to play with light. I think light is going to be an add-on to an already existing. So once we get already existing element, I meant. So once we get an update where we can actually use multiple elements together, I think light is going to be very interesting, because as you can see here, you get a blinded effect, a blinded status effect. It's going to be interesting in PvP because you can also shoot it extremely fast. So if you're going to actually combine this with gold and this speed, because gold actually has a low speed point, but if you actually switch these out and actually combine them, you also get a blinded status effect and you get some good damage. It's going to be a very interesting element, but as of right now, I don't recommend it at all. So I don't recommend it as a stand-alone element. Let's talk about lightning magic. Low damage with 0.87. We got magic speed, which is very fast, and the destruction power pretty high. I would say it's a C tier element, just because destruction power is kind of useless. Magic speed is interesting, yeah, but the damage is pretty low. So anything that is low damage, I wouldn't necessarily go for in the beginning. But yeah, if you got it, it's a C to B tier, I would say, element. It's okay. It's not bad. It's also gonna be one that I will be interested in the future when you combine it with something. So as you can see, bleeding and frozen status effect from the target. So yeah, it's interesting. You can actually shock people with it. So I think it's gonna be one of those elements that are gonna be interested when you merge them with other elements. So let's talk about the third row, which is magma, iron, paper, plasma, poison, and sand. Magma, we have a high damage, we have very low speed and very low destruction power. So basically this is very high, yeah, it's 1.5, and it melts up to, so basically this is gold just in worse, I'd say, because the destruction power is low, the magic speed is low. I think the damage is a bit higher than gold, but I would not recommend this right now because they're much better elements right now. We got iron magic. The damage is high on 1.1. We got extremely slow, which is 0.5. Okay, this might be the slowest element in the game right now. And the destruction power is very high. That's interesting. Okay. I didn't even know about iron. Well, I knew that it existed, but I didn't know that we actually... I haven't seen anyone using iron, to be honest. Yeah, it's super slow, so I don't know. That might actually have an effect on. Maybe it's also something that you be able to merge in the future. I don't know. Can't really say much about it. The dark variation looks pretty cool, but yeah, you know, I wouldn't use it. If it's super extremely slow, I wouldn't use it. Let's talk about paper. So the damage is actually pretty high. It's on 0.9 because it also gives you a bleed effect. So you get those beautiful paper cuts with 0.22, and it's also pretty fast. And the destruction power obviously is low. It's because it's paper. But I said it doesn't really matter. But this might be actually a pretty good element because you have a fast one. 1.4 times the speed, and the high damage could actually be interesting into you get some scroll variations as well. That's interesting. And yeah, I think it's going to be one of those that you can actually combine. Maybe, I don't know, I'm not 100% sure, but it seems pretty cool. Seems like a pretty cool element. I would put it into the B to A tier maybe even, because it's pretty fast and you have high damage. So paper might actually be interesting. And the destruction power, nobody really needs destruction power, do we? So yeah, let's carry on. Yeah, paper might be good in the future, or maybe already, don't know, haven't tried it yet. Let's talk about plasma magic. Plasma magic is high. We have the speed above average, and we have a medium destruction power. So plasma seems interesting. So we have a high damage of 0.82 and Scorch up to 0.41. To be honest, I don't know what the Scorch status effect is. Maybe it's damage over time. I'm not 100% sure. I don't know what Scorch means. I'm German. I'm stupid, so I don't know. We have the magic speed above average, which is 1.1. That's actually pretty good. And also the destruction power medium. So Plasma might be one of the best ones I've seen so far with gold and some others. Paper even as well. So Plasma seems pretty good, gotta be honest. So I would put this into the A tier. Plasma seems like an alright element, to be honest, because there's no negative in here. You see, we have the destruction power at medium because look, balanced damage, balanced elemental thingies are the best. Even though I always like and talk about gold, but gold is not balanced really because it's very slow. But this one seems to be like the most balanced element that I've seen so far. And it's more on the damaging positive side than on any other. So we have high damage, above average, and medium. So there's nothing negative about this one. This one might be one of the best ones. I would put this into the S-class tier, to be honest, Plasma Magic. So might even be better than gold. I might actually make a character with Plasma Magic, to be honest, because this looks good. I'm gonna put this. I'm gonna have my eye on Plasma. So if you actually would mix this run up with some other element, this might be completely overpowered. So watch out for that one. Watch out for Plasma. We got Poison Magic, very high, 0.7 times, and Poison up to 0.7 times, which means it's gonna be damaging over time. We have average magic speed, which is 1.0, and the destruction power is low. So if you want to poison people and venom, oh, this is pretty cool too. If you want to poison them, yeah, go for it. Seems nice. Let's go for Sand. Now this is interesting. This one is just a question mark. Nobody seems to know. Magic damage is a question mark. Assumes to be average. We got average magic speed, and the destruction power is low. So yeah, I'm not gonna say much about it because don't know. I don't want to give out false information. So let's talk about the last. Some people have been talking to me about the Shadow one. Let's talk about the Shadow one. We got the average magic damage of 0.95, which is pretty good, by the way. We also have a magic speed, which is fast on 1.4, and the destruction power medium. So this one might be also an A to S class tier element, because also on this one we have no negative sides. We just got positives, and positives are always good. Unless you got AIDS. I'm sorry. Just had to drop one of those lines. Yeah, it's good. Shadow Magic, definitely put it on an A tier, maybe even S tier. Yeah, let's check out Snow Magic. Yeah, this one, again, can't really say much about it. Assumed to be average. Maybe not many people have tried Snow Magic yet. I don't know where the difference is between Snow Magic and Ice, but I think it's going to be one of those. I think it's going to be one of those that you're going to mix in the future with other, like if you combine them with other elements. Now, this is an OG. We got Water Magic, which is average, and low. Definitely don't recommend it. It's going to be in the C tier, maybe B tier, but more like C tier. Swamp Variation looks cool. Tropical looks nice. And Spring, Tropical, Abyss. That's pretty cool. I like the colors. I like the variations on this one. Would probably go for Swamp Variation. But yeah, you know, Water is okay. It's not bad, but it's also not the best. Let's talk about Wind. Obviously, it has to be fast. I mean, I can again guess that. Below average with 0.92 times the damage, and we got the destruction power low because, well, I don't. This is something that really surprises me because wind can destroy houses and, like, you know, hurricanes and all that kind of bad stuff. So I would have thought that the destruction level or destruction power is going to be on high, but you know, whatever. Yeah, looks good. Looks like a normal C, B tier, I would say. B tier element, maybe even A, but more like B because of the destruction power. So we definitely have some better ones. And now we got Wood. That is like a really weird elemental magic damage. That's a weird one. We got oh, look at this one. That's cool. Birch Variation. So or is it Berg? Probably it's Birken, in German. Yeah, okay, got it. We got the magic damage of average, the magic speed of slow, and destruction power on medium. Would say it's alright. It's not the best. Put it on B, C maybe. I would put it on C tier. due to the slow, well, I don't know. Like I said, if these two would be very high, like gold, and this one is slow, I don't know. I'm just a gold fanboy, I guess. So I'm gonna put this in the C tier. And these are all of them. Yeah, these are all of the magic elements that we have. They're a bit more explained now. I hope that this video kind of helps you out on choosing what kind of element you want to go for in the end. That's up to you. Basically, you can also, for the first one, I just went for what I liked, so I went with fire, which turned out to be a great idea. But now, you know, you can go for anything. There were a few ones I wouldn't go for light. That's the only thing I wouldn't go for, is for light, just because of that low, you know, like this, low, you know. We got the extremely fast ones, but yeah, I wouldn't go for light. But other than that, I would go for most of them. They're all right. And I'm really interested in plasma, because plasma almost seemed better than gold, high, above average, and medium. Let's see what's gonna happen in the next few updates, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Oh my god, 20 minutes. Oh, I talk way too much. See you in the next video. See yo.